Announcer bot is active. Nebojša Brankovic from Serbia in Brabham Strait is P1. Josarian from Croatia in Brabham Strait is second. Brad White is second. Josarian in Clark Curve is P3. Brad White in Cooper Strait is P2. Best lap is a 1:42.993. Nebojša Brankovic in Cooper Strait is P1. Best lap is a 0:53.661. "40 minutes remaining in the session. Kronkavali in Druids Bend is P3. Josarian from Croatia in Cooper Strait is P4. Kronkavali is P4. Best lap is a 1:31.630. Yas Arian in Cooper Straight is P3. Best lap is a 1:19.831. Nebojasa Brankovic in Halewoods Hill is P1. Best lap is a 0:53.031. Pete Nichols from England in Graham Hill Bend is 5th. Best lap is a 1:38.852. Yas Arian in Paddock Hill Bend is 4th. Paul Jewell from England in McLaren Bend is P2. Nebojasa Brankovic is 1st. Brad White is 4th. Best lap is a 0:53.912. "35 minutes remaining in the session. Nebojasa Brankovic in Cooper Straight is 1st. Best lap is a 0:52.530. Kronkavali in Druids Bend is 2nd. Best lap is a 0:52.823. Yas Arian is 5th. Best lap is a 0:54.025. Kronkavali in Graham Hill Bend is P2. Best lap is a 0:52.554. Valtinator from Bulgaria in Druids Bend is P7. Pete Nichols from England in Surtees Bend is P4. Kronkavali is P2. Yossarian in Graham Hill Bend is 6th. Mitchells from Czech Republic in Halewoods Hill is P9. Pete Nichols in Clark Curve is 4th. "30 minutes remaining in the session. Brad White in Surtees Bend is 5th. Vaj Adamra from Czech Republic is 9th. Yossarian in Brabham Strait is P5. Best lap is a 0:53.538. Vaj Adamra from Czech Republic in Graham Hill Bend is 8th. Yosarian from Croatia in Paddock Hill Bend is P5. Kronkavali in Brabham Strait is second. Pete Nichols in Druids Bend is P4. Best lap is a 0:53.429. Nebojsa Brankovic is P1. Mitchells in Cooper Strait is 6th. Best lap is a 0:53.624. Paul Jewell from England in Brabham Strait is third. Best lap is a 0:52.595. "25 minutes remaining in the session. Nebojsa Brankovic in Graham Hill Bend is first. Kronkavali in Halewoods Hill is second. Vajj Adamra is 7th. Best lap is a 0:53.640. Kronkavali in Druids Bend is P3. Pete Nichols in McLaren Bend is P6. Nebojša Brankovic from Serbia in Druids Bend is second. Paul Jewell in Clark Curve is P4. Pete Nichols in Druids Bend is P6. Brad White is 8th. Pete Nichols is P6. "20 minutes remaining in the session. Brad White in Brabham Straight is P8. Potato in Paddock Hill Bend is P10. Paul Jewell in Clark Curve is P4. Potato in Halewoods Hill is P10. Nebojša Brankovic in Clark Curve is P2. Potato is 9th. Best lap is a 0:53.775. Cronkavali in Clark Curve is 3rd. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, from England in Druids Bend is 10th. Best lap is a 1:38.718. Cronkavali in Brabham Strait is P3. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, is 10th. Best lap is a 0:56.438. Yossarian in Graham Hill Bend is 7th. Best lap is a 0:52.971. "15 minutes remaining in the session. Potato in McLaren Bend is P4. Nebojsa Brankovic in Halewoods Hill is 3rd. Yossarian in Halewoods Hill is P7. Paul Jewell in Cooper Strait is 4th. Best lap is a 0:52.544. Nebojasa Brankovic and Clark Curve is third. Mitchells from Czech Republic is first. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Surtees Bend is 10th. Nebojasa Brankovic in Halewoods Hill is P3. Patchy from England is 10th. Best lap is a 0:53.549. Potato in Brabham Straight is P5. Best lap is a 0:52.559. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Paddock Hill Bend is P11. Best lap is a 0:54.084. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Jos Arian in McLaren Bend is P7. Wiktor Kokskader from Poland is P12. Best lap is a 0:56.210. Kronkavali in Graham Hill Bend is P2. Best lap is a 0:52.492. Wiktor Kokskader in Druids Bend is 12th. Patchy is P9. Best lap is a 0:53.150. Cavalier in Halewoods Hill is third. Mitchell's in Brabham Strait is P1. Patchy is 9th. Potato in Paddock Hill Bend is P2. Best lap is a 0:52.381. Paul Jewell is 6th. Five minutes remaining in the session. Yossarian in Brabham Strait is 7th. Patchy in Druids Bend is P8. Best lap is a 0:52.925. Nebojsa Brankovic is 5th. Patchy is P9. Cavalier is P4. Patchy in Halewoods Hill is 9th. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, is P13. Mitchells from Czech Republic is first. Best lap is a 0:52.175. Nebojasa Brankovic in Halewoods Hill is 5th. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, in Graham Hill Bend is 13th. Best lap is a 0:53.815. Nigo.E36 from Germany in McLaren Bend is P8. Vajh Adamra in Brabham Straight is 4th. Best lap is a 0:52.443. Pete Nichols in Brabham Straight is 11th. Victor Cox-Kader in Paddock Hill Bend is P11. Best lap is a 0:53.041. Jos Arian in Surtees Bend is P9. Nigo.E36 in Brabham Straight is 8th. The qualification session is at Brands Hatch Circuit in Foxham, Great Britain. The wind speed is 19 km/h from the north. Nigo.E36 from Germany in Paddock Hill Bend is first. Cronkavally in Graham Hill Bend is fourth. Nigo.E36 in Brabham Strait is first. Nigo.E36 is up 7.38 in Graham Hill Bend. Nigo.E36 improved is first with a 0:52.992. Potato is provisional pole with a 0:52.485. Cronkavally is fifth. Cronkavally improved is P3 with a 0:53.118. POINT 633 off pole. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, from England in Paddock Hill Bend is ninth. Wiktor Kokskader from Poland is P8 up 0.12. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, is ninth up 0.42. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, improved is P9 with a 0:53.670. 1.185 off pole. Cronkavally in Graham Hill Bend is 8th up 0.24. Pete Nichols from England in McLaren Bend is 12th up 6.59. Pete Nichols improved is P11 with a 0:53.883. 1.398 off pole. Nigo.E36 is 7th up 0.13. Nigo.E36 improved is P5 with a 0:52.753. POINT 268 off pole. Josarian from Croatia in Brabham Strait is 8th. Josarian is provisional pole with a 0:52.444. Nebojsa Brankovic from Serbia in Brabham Strait is P9. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Nebojsa Brankovic improved is 9th with a 0:52.839. Point 395 off pole. Mitchells is 5th. Mitchells is provisional pole with a 0:52.387. Nigo.E36 in Brabham Straight is P8. Nigo.E36 improved is 2nd with a 0:52.426. Point 039 off pole. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, is P11. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, improved is P10 with a 0:53.354. Point 967 off pole. Brad White in Graham Hill Bend is 7th up 0.11. Pete Nichols is 12th up 0.16. Paul Jewell from England in McLaren Bend is 6th up 0.13. Nigo.E36 is provisional pole with a 0:52.340. Paul Jewell improved is 3rd with a 0:52.404. Point 064 off pole. Victor Cox-Kader in McLaren Bend is P13 up 0.78. Pete Nichols in Graham Hill Bend is P12 up 0.25. Pete Nichols improved is P12 with a 0:53.411. 1.071 off pole. Victor Cox-Kader in Clark Curve is 13th. Victor Cox-Kader improved is 13th with a 0:53.432. 1.092 off pole. Pete Nichols in Cooper Straight is P12 up 0.22. Pete Nichols improved is 11th with a 0:53.057. Point 717 off pole. Victor Cox-Kader in Clark Curve is P13. Victor Cox-Kader improved is P8 with a 0:52.715. Point 375 off pole. Potato in Clark Curve is P6. Potato improved is 2nd with a 0:52.380. Point 040 off pole. Pete Nichols from England in Paddock Hill Bend is P12. Krong Cavalier in Paddock Hill Bend is P7. Five minutes remaining in the session. Victor Cox Kader in Graham Hill Bend is 9th. Best lap is a 0:52.715. Point 375 off pole. Paul Jewell from England in Druids Bend is 4th. Victor Cox Kader in Halewoods Hill is 9th. Victor Cox Kader is up 0.15 in Surtees Bend. Brad White in Cooper Strait is P8 up 0.11. Nebojsa Brankovic in Graham Hill Bend is 11th up 0.21. Nebojsa Brankovic improved is 9th with a 0:52.675. Point 335 off pole. Brad White is P8 up 0.18. Vaj Adamra from Czech Republic in Halewoods Hill is P5. Mitchells from Czech Republic is P3 up 0.14. Vaj Adamra in Graham Hill Bend is 5th up 0.24. Mitchells is provisional pole with a 0:52.297. Vaj Adamra improved is 2nd with a 0:52.327. Point 030 off pole. Brad White in Clark Curve is P8. Brad White is provisional pole with a 0:52.275. Potato is 5th. Best lap is a 0:52.380. Point 105 off pole. Pete Nichols in Paddock Hill Bend is 12th. Paul Jewell in McLaren Bend is P6. Patchy from England in McLaren Bend is 11th. The qualifying session is now in overtime. Patchy improved is P8 with a 052.580. POINT 305 off pole. Yossarian in Druids Bend is 7th. Best lap is a 052.444. POINT 169 off pole. Wiktor Kokskader from Poland in Cooper Straight is P11 up 0.14. Wiktor Kokskader improved is 8th with a 052.481. POINT 206 off pole. The race session is at Brands Hatch Circuit in Foxham, Great Britain. The wind speed is 6 km/h from the west-northwest. Brad White is first. Michels from Czech Republic is second. Vaj Adamra from Czech Republic is third. Nigo.E36 from Germany is P4. Potato is 5th. Paul Jewell from England is P6. Yossarian from Croatia is 7th. Wiktor Kokskader from Poland is P8. Patchy from England is 9th. 20 minutes remaining in the session. Race start. Nigo.E36 is P1. Vaj Adamra in Halewoods Hill is 4th. Paul Jewell is 5th. Potato in McLaren Bend is 6th. Kronkaveli in Brabham Straight is 8th. Yossarian in Halewoods Hill is 9th, 0.4 behind Kronkaveli. Yossarian is now 8th. Patchy in Graham Hill Bend is P9. Best lap is a 1:04.431. 4.653 off the fastest lap. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, from England in McLaren Bend is 11th, 0.4 behind Nebojša Brankovic. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, is now 11th. Pete Nichols from England in Paddock Hill Bend is P13, 0.5 behind Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR. Pete Nichols passed Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, for P12. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, is 13th, 0.1 behind Pete Nichols. Wiktor Kokskadea is P5, 0.2 ahead of Nebojša Brankovic. Nebojša Brankovic from Serbia in Brabham Straight is 6th, 0.1 behind Wiktor Kokskadea. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, is 11th, 0.5 behind Pete Nichols. Nico.E36 from Germany in Graham Hill Bend is P13, 0.5 behind Paul Jewell. Patchy in Clark Curve is P7, 0.3 behind Vajaj Adamra. Nebojša Brankovic in Paddock Hill Bend is P8. Best lap is a 0:54.344. 1.589 off the fastest lap. Yossarian is P9, 0.4 behind Nebojša Brankovic. Nico.E36 is 13th, 0.2 behind Paul Jewell. Nico.E36 passed Paul Jewell for 12th. Paul Jewell in Brabham Straight is 13th, 0.2 behind Nico.E36. Vajaj Adamra in Druids Bend is 6th, 0.3 behind Wiktor Kokskadea. 15 minutes remaining in the session. Nico.E36 in Graham Hill Bend on lap 6 is 13th, 0.3 behind Paul Jewell. Vajaj Adamra in Clark Curve is 6th. Nebojša Brankovic is 8th. Best lap is a 0:52.847. Point 326 off the fastest lap. Vajaj Adamra in Graham Hill Bend is P6, 0.3 behind Victor Coxcadet. Vajh Adamra passed Victor Coxcadet for P5. Pachi in McLaren Bend is P6 battling Victor Coxcadet. Pachi is now P9. Pachi lost P12 to Nigo.E36. Victor Coxcadet in Clark Curve is 9th, 0.2 behind Paul Jewell. Yossarian in Druids Bend is 7th, 0.5 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Yossarian is now 6th. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, is P12, 0.1 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, passed Nebojsa Brankovic for 11th. Victor Coxcadet in Brabham Straight is P8, 0.7 behind Paul Jewell. Potato is P4, 0.7 behind Kronkavali. Victor Coxcadet in Clark Curve is P8, 0.2 behind Paul Jewell. Nigo.E36 in Halewoods Hill is 9th, 0.4 behind Victor Coxcadet. Victor Coxcadet in Graham Hill Bend on lap 10 is 9th, 0.3 behind Nigo.E36. Nebojsa Brankovic in McLaren Bend is 12th, 0.4 behind MR Ralph Mann, GBR. Potato in Halewoods Hill is 4th, 0.2 behind Kronkavali. Nigo.E36 from Germany in Druids Bend is P9, 0.2 behind Victor Coxcadet. Victor Coxcadet in Cooper Straight on lap 11 is P9, 0.1 behind Nigo.E36. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, on lap 11 is 11th, 0.4 behind Pete Nichols. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Potato in Graham Hill Bend on lap 12 is 4th, 0.5 behind Kronkavali. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, in McLaren Bend is P11, 0.5 behind Pete Nichols. Potato in Druids Bend is P4, 0.4 behind Kronkavali. Nigo.E36 from Germany is P8, 0.5 behind Paul Jewell. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, in Cooper Straight on lap 13 is P11, 0.4 behind Pete Nichols. Potato in Paddock Hill Bend is 4th, 0.2 behind Kronkavali. Paul Jewell in Halewoods Hill is 8th, 0.6 ahead of Jos Arian. Paul Jewell is now 11th. Potato in McLaren Bend is P4. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, in Surtees Bend is P9, 0.1 behind Pete Nichols. Potato in Druids Bend is 4th, 0.3 behind Kronkavali. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, in Halewoods Hill is P9, 0.1 behind Pete Nichols. Paul Jewell entering the pits is P13. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, is now P10. Jos Arian from Croatia in Graham Hill Bend is 11th, 0.5 behind MR Ralph Mann, GBR. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, was 7.6 faster last lap. Potato in Paddock Hill Bend on lap 16 is P4, 0.3 behind Kronkavali. Pete Nichols in Brabham Straight is P10, 0.1 behind Jos Arian. Vaj Adamra in McLaren Bend is P5, 0.3 behind Potato. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, from England in Cooper Straight is 10th, 0.4 behind Jos Arian. Jos Arian was 2.5 faster last lap. Potato in Druids Bend is P4, 0.4 ahead of Vaj Adamra. Vaj Adamra in Cooper Straight is 5th, 0.4 behind Potato. Five minutes remaining in the session. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, is P10, 0.4 behind Jos Arian. Potato in Paddock Hill Bend is 4th, 0.4 behind Kronkavali. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, in Halewoods Hill is 10th, 0.5 behind Jos Arian. Potato in Brabham Strait is P4. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, in McLaren Bend is P10, 0.3 behind Yos Arian. Potato in Cooper Strait is 4th, 0.4 behind Krong Cavalier. Vaj H. Adamra is P5, 0.7 behind Potato. Potato in Druids Bend is P5, 0.2 behind Vaj H. Adamra. Vaj H. Adamra is 4th, 0.2 behind Krong Cavalier. Potato in Clark Curve is 5th, 0.3 behind Vaj H. Adamra. Vaj H. Adamra in Halewoods Hill is P4, 0.2 behind Krong Cavalier. Vaj H. Adamra was 0.8 faster last lap. Potato is P5, 0.5 behind Vaj H. Adamra. Vaj H. Adamra in Paddock Hill Bend is 4th, 0.2 ahead of Potato. Potato is 5th, 0.4 behind Vaj H. Adamra. Nebojasa Brankovic in Druids Bend is 8th, 0.4 behind Victor Coxcadejo. Yos Arian in Graham Hill Bend is 10th. Best lap is a 0:52.857. POINT 615 off the fastest lap. Nebojasa Brankovic in Clark Curve is 8th, 0.2 behind Victor Coxcadejo. The leader has just finished the race. Mitchell's finished first. Brad White finished second. Vaj H. Adamra finished third. Potato finished fourth. Nigo.E36 finished P5. Nebojasa Brankovic finished P6. Victor Coxcadejo finished 7th. Pete Nichols finished 8th. Yossarian finished 9th. Mr. Ralphman, GBR, finished P10. Patchy finished P11. The race session is at Brands Hatch Circuit in Foxham, Great Britain. The wind speed is 16 km/h from the north-northwest. Patchy is P1. Mr. Ralphman, GBR, from England is P2. Yossarian from Croatia is P3. Pete Nichols from England is P4. Wiktor Kokskader from Poland is 5th. Nebojsa Brankovic from Serbia is P6. Nigo.E36 from Germany is P7. Potato is P8. Vaj Adamra from Czech Republic is P9. 20 minutes remaining in the session. Race start. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, is P1. Yossarian in Halewoods Hill is 3rd. Victor Coxcadere is 4th. Nigo.E36 entering the pits is P1. Potato in Surtees Bend is P8. Paul Jewell from England in Clark Curve is P10. Paul Jewell is now 9th. MR Ralph Mann, GBR, in Druids Bend is P3, 0.3 ahead of Victor Coxcadere. Nebojša Brankovic from Serbia is P7, 0.4 behind Potato. Nebojša Brankovic is now P6. Potato is P6. Potato lost P6 to Vajaj Adamra. Paul Jewell in Brabham Straight is 8th, 0.3 behind Potato. Victor Coxcadere in Halewoods Hill is P10, 0.4 behind Mitchells. Mitchells was 8.0 faster last lap. Brad White in Graham Hill Bend is 12th, 0.4 behind Kronkavali. Nebojša Brankovic in Brabham Straight is P5, 0.3 behind MR Ralph Mann, GBR. Brad White in Brabham Straight is 12th, 0.5 behind Kronkavali. Vajaj Adamra in Graham Hill Bend is P5, 0.4 behind Nebojša Brankovic. Mitchells from Czech Republic in Clark Curve is 9th, 0.5 behind MR Ralph Mann, GBR. Nebojša Brankovic in Druids Bend is P5, 0.3 behind Vajaj Adamra. Potato in Cooper Straight is 6th, 0.3 behind Nebojša Brankovic. Mitchells is 9th, 0.2 behind MR Ralph Mann, GBR. Nebojša Brankovic in Paddock Hill Bend is 5th, 0.4 ahead of Potato. Potato is 6th, 0.4 behind Nebojša Brankovic. 15 minutes remaining in the session. Kronkavali in Cooper Straight is P11, 0.5 behind Victor Coxcadejo. Potato in Brabham Straight is 6th, 0.5 behind Nebojasa Brankovic. Kronkavali on lap 7 is 11th. Pete Nichols from England in Cooper Straight is 4th, 0.4 ahead of Potato. Pete Nichols lost 7th to Mitchells. Pete Nichols lost 11th to Brad White. Nebojasa Brankovic on lap 7 is 5th, 0.3 ahead of Paul Jewell. Paul Jewell in Paddock Hill Bend is 6th. Best lap is a 0:52.651. Point 240 off the fastest lap. Wiktor Coxcader from Poland in Druids Bend is P10, 0.2 behind Kronkavali. Nebojasa Brankovic in McLaren Bend is 5th, 0.3 behind Potato. Paul Jewell in Brabham Straight is P6, 0.4 behind Nebojasa Brankovic. Wiktor Coxcader from Poland in Paddock Hill Bend is P10, 0.5 behind Kronkavali. Wiktor Coxcader lost P10 to Brad White. Nebojasa Brankovic in Graham Hill Bend is 7th, 0.2 ahead of Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR. Nebojasa Brankovic lost 9th to Brad White. Kronkavali in Brabham Straight is 8th, 0.6 behind Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR. Mitchells in Druids Bend is 6th, 0.3 behind Paul Jewell. Kronkavali in Cooper Straight is P8, 0.1 behind Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR. Kronkavali passed Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, for P7. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, is 9th, 0.3 behind Brad White. Brad White was 1.3 faster last lap. Paul Jewell in Halewoods Hill is 6th, 0.4 behind Mitchells. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Druids Bend on lap 11 is P10, 0.4 behind Nebojasa Brankovic. Paul Jewell is 6th. "10 minutes remaining in the session. Brad White in Paddock Hill Bend is 8th, 0.5 behind Kronkavali. Yossarian is P2, 0.5 behind Patchy. Brad White in McLaren Bend is 8th, 0.3 behind Kronkavali. Yossarian from Croatia in Halewoods Hill is P2, 0.5 behind Patchy. Brad White in Druids Bend on lap 13 is 8th, 0.5 behind Kronkavali. Brad White lost P9 to Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR. Brad White lost 10th to Wiktor Kokskadeh. Mitchells in Halewoods Hill on lap 14 is P5, 0.8 behind Potato. Yossarian in Clark Curve is P2, 1.1 behind Patchy. Potato in Paddock Hill Bend is P5. Potato passed Mitchells for P4. Mitchells is 5th, 0.5 behind Potato. Yossarian is 2nd, 1.0 behind Patchy. Vajj Adamra in Halewoods Hill is 5th, 1.2 ahead of Paul Jewell. Vajj Adamra lost P6 to Kronkavali. Vajj Adamra lost P7 to Nebojsa Sabrankovic. Potato in Surtees Bend is 4th, 0.1 behind Mitchells. Brad White in Cooper Strait is P11, 0.3 behind Wiktor Kokskadeh. Potato in Halewoods Hill is 4th, 0.4 behind Mitchells. Mitchells was 0.5 faster last lap. Nebojsa Sabrankovic from Serbia in Druids Bend is P8, 0.2 behind Vajj Adamra. Nebojsa Sabrankovic was 9.5 faster last lap. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Cooper Strait is 9th, 0.2 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Brad White in McLaren Bend is P11, 0.2 behind Wiktor Kokskadeha. Nebojsa Brankovic in Halewoods Hill is 8th, 0.1 behind Vojtech Adamra. Nebojsa Brankovic passed Vojtech Adamra for 7th. Vojtech Adamra in Graham Hill Bend is 8th, 0.3 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Yossarian in Paddock Hill Bend on lap 19 is 2nd, 0.5 behind Patchy. Vojtech Adamra in Paddock Hill Bend is P8, 0.2 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Nebojsa Brankovic is 8th, 0.2 behind Vojtech Adamra. Nebojsa Brankovic was 0.6 faster last lap. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Surtees Bend on lap 19 is P9, 0.2 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Yossarian in Halewoods Hill is P2, 0.2 behind Patchy. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Halewoods Hill is 9th, 0.3 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, was 0.8 faster last lap. Yossarian is 2nd, 0.3 behind Patchy. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, is 9th, 0.5 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Potato in Druids Bend is 4th. Best lap is a 0:52.474. Point 334 off the fastest lap. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Druids Bend is 9th, 0.4 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Yossarian in Brabham Straight is 2nd, 0.4 behind Patchy. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Halewoods Hill is 9th, 1.0 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. Yossarian is P2, 0.5 behind Patchy. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, in Brabham Straight is P9, 0.8 behind Nebojsa Brankovic. The leader has just finished the race. Pachi from England finished first. Yossarian finished P2. Mitchells finished P3. Potato finished 4th. Paul Jewell finished 5th. Krong Cavalier finished 6th. Vajj Adamra finished P7. Nebojasa Brankovic finished P8. Mr. Ralph Mann, GBR, finished 9th. Victor Cox-Cadere finished 10th. Pete Nichols finished 11th. Brad White finished P12.